The air in the cargo hold smelled of rust and fear. Ellen crouched in the shadows behind a stack of crates, her arms wrapped protectively around three trembling forms. The cubs pressed against her chest, their small bodies shaking with exhaustion and terror. Their fur, once pristine silver, was matted with grime and dried blood not their own, but their mother's. Ellen was a Velcarian, a species known across 7 systems for their warrior culture and unbreakable pride. She stood nearly 8 feet tall when upright, with 4 arms designed for combat and eyes that could see in near total darkness. Her people had conquered 12 worlds before joining the Galactic Collective. They bowed to no one. Yet here she was, hiding like prey. The smugglers had been clever. They targeted a colony transport, waited until it passed through dead space where no signals could reach, then struck. Ellen had fought by the ancestors, she had fought, but there were too many. They'd killed the adult Velcarians first, recognizing the threat. The cubs, valuable as exotic slaves, they'd kept alive. All except these 3. Ellen had hidden them during the chaos, had made a choice that shamed her warrior's heart. She'd stayed hidden instead of dying in glorious combat. For the cubs. Only for the cubs. Now the smugglers' ship shuddered and groaned around them. Something was wrong. Ellen's sensitive hearing caught raised voices. Panic in languages she didn't recognize. Then came sounds that chilled her blood weapons' fire, screams, and finally, terrible silence. The cubs whimpered. They hadn't eaten in 3 days. Hadn't truly slept in weeks, not since the raiders first came. Their eyes were too old for creatures barely past their birthing season. Footsteps approached, heavy, methodical. Ellen tensed, her 4 arms instinctively moving to shield the cubs even though she had no weapon. She would die here, she decided. But she would make it costly. The cargo hold door hissed open. A figure entered, and Ellen's breath caught. It was a human. She'd heard of them, the newest species to join the collective, barely 2 generations ago. They were small, weak by galactic standards. Only 2 arms, fragile bones. They had no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. Most species considered them curiosities at best, potential victims at worst. This human wore strange armor, black and matte, covered in equipment she didn't recognize. A weapon hung at his side, still smoking. His face was obscured by a helmet, but Ellen could feel his eyes scanning the cargo hold. "Ma'am," the human's voice came through a translator, surprisingly gentle. "My name is Ravak. I'm with the Terran Rescue Corps. The hostiles have been neutralized. You're safe now." Ellen didn't move, couldn't move. The words made no sense. Safe? Nothing was safe. Nowhere was safe. Ravak took a step forward, and Ellen hissed a sound of pure warning that would have sent most species retreating. The human stopped immediately, raising his hands slowly, palms out. The universal gesture of peace. "It's okay," Ravak said, his voice somehow softer despite the mechanical translation. "I'm not going to hurt you." "Are you injured? Are the little ones hurt?" The cubs pressed harder against Ellen, their small claws digging into her skin. One of them, the smallest, the one who'd watched his mother die, made a sound like breaking glass. Ravak's posture changed. Something in his body language shifted. He lowered himself down slowly until he was sitting on the floor, making himself smaller, less threatening. Ellen had never seen a warrior do such a thing. "My team is securing the ship," Ravak continued, still in that impossibly gentle voice. "We received your colony's distress beacon. We've been tracking these smugglers for 2 weeks." "I'm sorry." His voice cracked slightly. "I'm sorry we didn't get here sooner." Ellen's 4 arms trembled. The human was apologizing. To her. A human, who by all logic should fear her, should see her as the predator she was born to be. "The cubs," Ellen's voice came out rough, unused. "They need water, food, medical care. We have all of that," Ravak assured her. He reached slowly to his belt, moving with exaggerated care, and produced a silver packet. "This is water. Purified, safe for most species. May I come a little closer? I won't touch you. I promise." Something in his tone, something beyond the translation, reached through Ellen's terror. Perhaps it was exhaustion. Perhaps it was desperation. Perhaps it was something else, something she'd heard about humans, their strange ability to bond with almost any species, their irrational drive to protect the vulnerable. She nodded once. Ravak moved forward on his knees, stopping several feet away. He placed the water packet on the floor, then slowly backed away. For the cubs, he said. Ellen reached out with one arm, just one, keeping the other three wrapped around the children, and grabbed the packet. She tore it open with her teeth and brought it to the smallest cub's mouth. The child drank desperately, then his siblings followed. You protected them, Ravak said quietly. Through everything, you kept them alive. That takes more courage than any battle. Elaine's eyes burned. In Valkyrian culture, tears were shameful, but she was so tired. I hid, she whispered. I am a warrior. I should have fought. You did fight, Ravak replied, and there was something fierce in his voice now. You fought by surviving. By keeping them alive when everything tried to kill them. That's the hardest fight there is. He stood slowly, still keeping his distance. There's a medical bay 3 corridors from here. Clean beds. Real food. Doctors who know how to treat Valkyrian physiology. When you're ready, not now, but when you're ready, I'd like to take you there. Why? Ellen asked. Why do you care? We are nothing to you. Through his helmet, she couldn't see his expression. But she heard his answer clearly because someone should have been there to tell you sooner you're safe now. And those cubs deserve to be children again, not soldiers. The smallest cub had finished drinking. His eyes were closing, his body going limp in that way children do when they finally feel secure. Within moments, all 3 were breathing deeply, their small chests rising and falling in rhythm. Sleeping, actually sleeping, for the first time in weeks. Ellen looked down at them, then back at the human. Ravak hadn't moved, patient as stone. Okay, she whispered. We'll come. As she stood, cubs cradled in her 4 arms, Ravak kept his distance but walked beside her, his presence solid and strangely comforting. He spoke into his communicator, his voice low. Medical, this is Ravak. 4 incoming, 3 juveniles, 1 adult. They're going to need the quiet room. And someone bring warm blankets. Lots of them. The cubs slept on, peaceful and trusting, as humans, those strange, weak, impossibly stubborn humans, carried them all toward something Ellen had thought lost forever. Toward home.